All right, welcome back to week 5 of the Game Time Sports Podcast. I'm Caden Simpson, and this is Jace Perrett. As always, we're here, and this week is a special episode. So there's not much going on, but there is a big thing coming up here in a few days, and March Madness is coming up, and we have our brackets for you. So we're gonna go through the entire bracket. Both of us, each of us, are gonna pick each of the games. And yeah, so that's pretty much what we're gonna be doing. Don't forget to follow us on X, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to follow us individually on Instagram and X. So Jace, you got anything before we get started?
Well, we did see that big game. Obviously, as we're recording this, Wagner escaped Howard in a game where it looked like Wagner was just going to blow him out. But Howard had three opportunities to go and win the game and or tie the game and send it to overtime, but they couldn't get it done. And Wagner was able to pull out with the victory.
Yeah, Wagner had like a 20-point lead at some point. Like it was an absolute blowout. And I thought they were gonna run away with it, but then yeah, we saw Howard started to come back there at the end, but unable, and they came up short. But
Yeah, got to be a really heartbreaking loss for them.
yeah, so Wagner is gonna go on and face UNC here in a few days, but we will get to that here in a minute. But are you ready?
I'm more than ready.
All right, we're born ready for this. So we kind of both had a different approach to this. Jace, tell us your approach to picking your teams in this bracket.
Well, I used a lot of mathematics and probabilities to see who was going to win these games. I did some of the eye test too. Teams I think are playing really good, have won a lot of games, maybe won their conference tournament, things like that, and how they've behaved, how well they are to stick together, how healthy they are, things like that is what I did into picking my teams.
Yeah, I kind of did the opposite. I kind of just like because last year was a disaster. I kind of did what you did last year, and I kind of like I chose like I did some research and I did probability and higher seeds and stuff, and that not get me anywhere. So this year I switched it up. I'm just going through, and I'm just whatever I'm feeling is what goes.
Yes,
So
we
let's
will
let's
see.
let's get right into it. So the first game is between number 1 UConn and number 16 Stetson. I think this is an obvious one. I think we both probably have the same one for this, but I got UConn.
Yeah, I got UConn too. There's no way they lose this game.
Yeah, I don't think that's even a question. I mean, if they lose this game, it might be the biggest upset in a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah, it would be.
All right. So next up, we have Florida Atlantic and Northwestern. Who do you got going there?
Well, in that one, I feel like Northwestern has been playing decent basketball as of late. But Florida Atlantic, I feel like should be a bit higher of a seed in my opinion. 8 seed at 25-8, being in the Final Four last year, kept the same crew around. I think an 8 seed is really just disrespecting them, and I do think this team should definitely be a higher seed. So I'm going to have them winning this one by about 10 points or so.
Yeah, I take Northwestern as well. I just think
Yeah,
they're gonna. I
really,
think
I'm going to be honest. I'd be shocked if Northwestern actually did beat Florida Atlantic. That'd be an early exit for a team that made the Final Four last year.
yeah. And moving on, San Diego State. So the runner-ups next, or not next year, the runner-ups last year versus UAB. Who is gonna come out of that one?
I think I like San Diego State in that one. I don't think they're the same team exactly as they were last year. It's good, but I do feel like they're able to beat UAB in this one.
Yeah, again, right now we're pretty much even, but trust me, once we get farther in this bracket, we have much different situations going on. Just stay tuned. But yeah, I got San Diego State coming out with that one. The runner-ups from last season, they
Yeah.
obviously, like you said, aren't like they were last year, but they're still pretty darn good. And so I think they're going to get that win. And then next game, Auburn and Yale. This is
Ooh, that's
also
an
probably
interesting one. Auburn has been playing just dominant basketballs. Like they played so good in the SEC tournament down the stretch of the regular season. However, I like Yale. I feel like they're a really, really good team, and I feel like they're definitely not going to make it easy for Auburn. And I think Auburn will have a tough game, and they'll probably only win by 5 or so points. But give me the Tigers to advance in this one. What do you got,
Yeah,
Caden?
I'm taking Auburn because our Auburn this year has when they play teams that are worse than them, they are very, 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 very good.
Oh
Very,
yeah,
very good. And then whenever, well, we'll talk about this later, but they're very, very good about against teams that are worse than them or around, their level. So they're a very good team. So
certainly.
I'm gonna have them winning that. Obviously, I mean they won the SEC, so and that's a pretty good accomplishment for them.
Yep.
And BYU and De
The Queen.
DeQueen, the Queen. That's what it says.
Our apologies if we pronounce that wrong, but who do you got in that one, Caden?
I got BYU coming out on top. I just feel like they got the edge, the 6th versus an 11 seed. This is where you might see an upset,
We
but
could see.
who knows? I just got that feeling. I'm feeling BYU right now. I'm just feeling it.
Yeah, I was really close in picking the Queen in this one. I liked what I saw from them in their conference tournament, able to get that victory there. Obviously, had that whole confetti incident, which was honestly a great moment. But I like BYU in this one. I mean, they had that huge statement win over Kansas, and they just have really looked great down the stretch of the year. It was kind of up in the air about midway through the season if they were going to make the tournament or not. But as it went on, like towards the end of the regular season, we were like, oh yeah, they're going to be in and they're going to be a really good seed. This is a great BYU team. I'm sure that they're going to, go on and play some great basketball, especially in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you there. BYU they're a really good basketball team over there. And I think they got the edge over the Queen. And I don't know. We'll see what happens, but let's move on. So we got Illinois in Moorhead State. Who is coming out of that one?
Illinois has just looked so good as of late. Obviously, they had that Big Ten tournament championship where they just dominated and rolled for teams. And they beat a Wisconsin team who was coming off a big win over Purdue. And something I liked, I saw about Illinois is they were able to get the other team mad. I mean, Wisconsin was just disgruntled. They were angry in that game. They didn't shoot well at the end. And the Illinois defense was able to hold up and get that victory for them. And I feel like that's going to be really, really crucial and beneficial in this tournament here.
And that's really big when you get the other team rattled like that,
Oh
because
yeah,
then that
it
gives you,
is. I mean, that's one of the reasons why they won that game. If they didn't get them so rattled, they could have lost easily.
yeah, that gives you an advantage because you're all calm and
Mhm.
everything, and the other team's, you know, freaking out. They're all struggling. They're trying to scramble to get back into the game and stuff. And whenever you get a team rattled like that, it just gets them to dig themselves in a
Oh
larger
yeah.
hole over and over again. All right, moving on. Drake and Iowa State. So we got number 7 Washington State versus number 10 Drake. This is an interesting one. Jay, so you got
This is a really difficult bracket, and I think I'm gonna have to take Drake in this one. Obviously, Washington State weren't able to win the conference championship, and I just think that this Washington State team isn't too good. I think they're a bit overrated, and I think Drake's gonna be able to pull this one out. And I actually don't think it's gonna be that close.
well. This is where the differences start to play in. Washington State is gonna take down Drake. They're gonna do it in round 1. How is that gonna happen? Who knows? But it's gonna happen. Why is it gonna happen? Also, can't tell you to answer that question either. But it's gonna happen. And moving on to the last game in this section of in this quarter of the bracket, Iowa State, South Dakota State. I would say this might be an easy answer. Obviously, Iowa State,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Iowa State should
absolutely.
dominate this one. They're gonna win by 30 plus.
Yeah, they made Houston look awful a few weeks ago. Not that Houston's awful, just they made them look awful, which is
Yeah.
really hard to do to a team that good. And so Yeah, I think Iowa State's gonna go. You got anything else?
I think they will. There's not much to talk about here, is there?
Not really much. And so after the results about 30 minutes ago, North Carolina is going to take on
Wagner.
Wagner. And I think this is also is, I mean, kind of an easy one. I think North Carolina is going to
Yeah,
take this.
North Carolina should win this one. I don't see any one seed upsets this year. No one ever does, but these 16 seeds are not good.
Yeah, not great over there. All right, so Mississippi State, Michigan State.
I'm gonna take Michigan State with this one. I think that they're a really talented team, and I think the talent difference they're so much more talented than Mississippi State. I think that's gonna come into play, and that's gonna win them this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Michigan State also is going to win this one. They've gone on a pretty good run recently and able to make it into the tournament. And I think they got this one to the bag. Are they going to make it much farther than that? Who knows? We'll get there in a little bit. St. Mary's and Grand Canyon.
I really wanted to pick Grand King in this one, and I almost did, but I think St. Mary's is going to be able to eke by just by a point or two, and I think this is going to be one of the best games of the first round. This is going to be an incredible matchup.
Hear me out.
GCU is playing really good basketball. I mean, 29-4. St. Mary's is really, really good. And I'm just so excited to see this game because this could be a big upset and it could be a really close game as well.
Hear me out, guys. So there was quite a few upsets in my bracket. One, because last year was a disaster. So this year, I'm like, here we go. Anything could happen. And nobody's at a perfect bracket for a reason. And Grand Canyon is gonna beat St. Mary's, upset a 12 beating a five. There's got to be at least one 12 beating a five. And if it's gonna be a team, it's gonna be Grand Canyon.
I think this Grand Canyon team is very solid. I don't think they're going to win, but this is going to be a close game.
I don't know, Jay. So we'll have to wait and see. And if they win, you're gonna get a call from me very quickly. All right. Okay, so moving on. Alabama Crimson Tide taking on Charleston, the number 4 versus 13. I think Bama's got this one.
Yeah, I don't really see an upset here. Charleston is a decent team. I think Alabama's really overrated, but I think they'll be able to get past the first round.
Yeah, I agree. I think Alabama is definitely gonna win this game. I don't know how far they will go. Actually, I do know how far they'll go because it's right in front of me. But they are definitely gonna win this one, and we'll see what happens in the next round. So
We'll see.
Clemson and New Mexico.
I think I'm going to take Clemson with this one. New Mexico is a popular upset pick, but I really do like this Clemson team. They've been playing very good basketball down the stretch of the year. And with that 21-11 record in a tough ACC conference, I think they're an underrated team. And I feel like they're going to be able to pull off this victory.
So I take New Mexico. I know, like you said, it's a popular upset pick, and I'm rolling with that. So I'm gonna take New Mexico to upset in this one. I think they could pull it off. I believe in New Mexico. I think they got this. All right. Baylor and Colgate, the 3 versus 14. I think Baylor is going to pull this off. I don't necessarily think that Baylor has the potential to make a huge run in this tournament, but they're not bad. I feel like they're mediocre in this tournament. I feel like they're going to win, maybe win a few games, but definitely they're going to be Colgate.
Oh, yeah. They'll beat the toothpaste brand pretty easily. I don't think Colgate's a very good team this year. But yeah, Baylor should win this one with relative ease.
Dayton and Nevada.
Well, Dayton and Nevada, I feel like these are two very evenly matched teams. I think this is going to be a very, very tight game. However, I'm going to take Dayton. They're just a little bit more talented. Their coaching's just a bit better. I think they're going to have the edge in this one overall.
Yeah, I'm going to take Nevada. I think
Okay.
this is a little bit of an upset. Not really. It's 7-10, but Nevada coming in here 26-7 versus 24-7. So pretty much similar records. These teams are pretty even. I mean, this feels more like an 8-9 game, not
It
really
does.
a
It does.
not a 10-7 game. So hopefully it plays like one. And really, when
It
it's like
should.
if you put it like that, you could just flip a coin and one of these teams will win. But we're
Yeah.
going Nevada with this one. And now we have we have a matchup here with Arizona, who had a very disappointing March Madness last season. Didn't go as planned. In Long Beach State, who's coming out of this one?
I think Arizona's coming out of this one pretty easily. They aren't going to lose early like they did last year. I mean, that was a disaster, but Arizona should win this one.
Yeah, Arizona is going to win this one. They obviously didn't have a great year last year. It's pretty awful what happened last year. But they are back and they are stronger than ever and they are going to move
They
on.
are.
So now we are moving to the other side of the bracket where we have Houston taking on Longwood. I think we both probably have the same answer for this. Houston, anything to add?
Houston should win by 30.
If they lose by 30, they should be kicked out of the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to institute that rule. If you are a one seed and you're playing a team like Longwood and you only win by 22, you are eliminated immediately. And they're going to put Mizzou in there. And
I don't
moving
think
on.
anyone wants to see Mizzou in the tournament. Pretty sure they would lose to Longwood.
Hey, all right, Nebraska and Texas A&M, my sleeper pick, and I got to roll with it. So we're going Nebraska. The same reasons that I said in the other video.
A week ago. Yeah, I'm taking Nebraska too. I think they're a better team than Texas Tech. They're high flying. They score a lot of points, and I feel like Texas Tech won't be able to keep up with it. Or Texas A&M, excuse me, won't be able to keep up with them well.
And we haven't seen Nebraska in the tournament very often. They haven't been here since 2014, and they are rolling. This is the best they've looked in a long time.
Oh yeah,
So
oh yeah.
hopefully they can show it off. All right, Wisconsin and James Madison. I've seen a few people choose upsets with James Madison winning this one. I just don't see it. I know they're 31-3, but I just don't know if they have it to beat Wisconsin. I got Wisconsin.
I got James Madison. I think they're certainly a better team. And why I say this is because of the fact that Wisconsin, like I was saying with Illinois, they get disgruntled really easily. This Wisconsin team lost a lot of games down the stretch, and they were, yes, a number 6 team in the country at one point, but they looked awful at the end of the regular season. And they just had a few good teams. Yes, the win against Purdue was awesome, but other than that, nothing else they did in that Big Ten tournament impressed me. I think that James Madison has a lot of confidence, and I think they're just the better team here, simply.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen a lot of people say that about James Madison, but I'm gonna have to stay with Wisconsin. I just feel like, man, I don't know. I just don't feel like James Madison has played any if they've had any really, really good competition. Like beating Purdue is that's some good stuff there, man. Like that's like Purdue is 29-4 and
Yeah.
number one seed and you know. All right, Texas Tech and Kentucky. What do we have going on here? Next one, Duke and Vermont. Who you got coming out of this one?
I have the Duke Blue Devils. I think they're a solid team again this year, and I think they should be able to win this one pretty handily.
Yeah, Duke knows what they're doing when they play basketball, and they are a 4 seed versus a 13 seed. This isn't really This is upset territory. This is just, hey, we're Duke and we know how to play basketball,
Yeah, we're
and
yeah, we're gonna win this game.
so they're gonna win that one. All right, moving on. Texas Tech, NC State.
I think NC State just looked so dominant in that conference tournament. I mean, they just dominated UNC. They looked amazing in a really tough conference area. We get past a lot of tough teams, and I just think they're going to win this game pretty easily. I didn't like what I saw from Texas Tech towards the end of the year, and I just think that Duke is going to, or not Duke, excuse me, NC State's going to be able to handle them pretty easily and get the victory here.
So I think NC State, right? They look dominant in that conference tournament, obviously winning the whole thing, but they're running into a pretty good Texas Tech team. And I don't know, flip the coin, and I'll call you when this happens. Texas Tech, they're going away. They're going to come away with the W, believe it or not. That is going to happen. And then we got Kentucky and Oakland. I think Kentucky is definitely probably going to win this one.
Yeah, I agree. Kentucky is the better team here. They should win.
Florida and Boise State or Colorado. I don't think it really matters who they play. I think Florida's going to win.
I'm here. Here's what I'm saying. I'm taking Colorado if they win their first four matchup, but if Boise State wins now, I'm gonna take Florida. So let's say Colorado slash Florida. So we'll just assume Colorado wins the first four game. I'm gonna put them there.
All right. Marquette in Western Kentucky.
I feel this game could be an upset. I don't like Marquette as much as most people do. I think they're honestly an overrated team, and I just don't think that they're very good. I'm gonna take Marquette though, just by a hair. But this Marquette team will not have a pretty ending in this tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Marquette too because it's the 2 seed versus a 15 seed. We don't often see 15 seeds beat 2 seeds,
They
and
have a
so
lot the
I
last
think.
few years though. I mean,
Well, I
goodness.
mean, yeah, or you're right in the last few years, but if the last few years didn't happen,
The last few years did happen.
they
So
did happen. Believe it or not, the last few years they did happen.
all right, now into the
But
final bracket, the Midwest.
oh yeah, the Midwest. All right, so we have Purdue and they're gonna play either Montana State or Grambling. Purdue last season was the second team ever to be a 1 seed and lose to a 16 seed. So, and then the year before that, they lost to St. Peter's. So they've had some pretty sad endings, and they end the sad endings just for this round, and they're gonna move on.
Yeah, they if they lose 2 years in a row as 6-1 seed, that'd just be so embarrassing. But it won't happen.
All right, TCU, Utah State. TCU's got this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I like Utah State, but I just think TCU is the better team in this game. They played really good in a tough conference, and I think they should win this one pretty handily.
Yeah, I do think I'm not necessarily. I don't necessarily think it'll be handily. I think that they will win, but I think it'll be close, and we'll see what happens. Moving on. This is a big one. This is a big one. I'm very confident in this one, but everybody's picking the other team. Gonzaga and McNeese. I'm taking Gonzaga. I just
Me
think
too. Me
that
me too. McNeese is a great team. This game's going to be really intense and close. I love the 12-5 matchups this year, but Gonzaga's got to take this one for me.
yeah, I think this year's gonna be different for Gonzaga because I know in years past they've been 1 seed, super good record, blow through like conference championships and all that stuff,
Yeah,
and have all this pressure
yeah.
on them, and then they just fall flat on their face in the tournament every year. And this year it's kind of laid back, right? That's not who everybody's focusing on right now. Nobody's really picking them to win the whole thing.
Nope.
And so I think this is just a year where it's like, hey, go do your thing. That's not all the spotlights aren't on you yet. They might be eventually, but right now they're not. And so moving on, Kansas and Sanford. Kansas is really not, they're not doing good right now, but I still think they're going to be able to beat Sanford.
Um, I don't know about this one, honestly. You know, I think I'm gonna have to go with Kansas ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. And here's why. Sanford shoots the three ball great. They're an amazing 3-point shooting team. And Kansas is depleted. They don't guard the three well at all. So therefore, that could really lead to them being upset in this one. So don't be surprised at all if they lose. But I think Bill Self isn't going to lose in the first round. I mean, it's Bill Self. He's one of the greatest coaches ever. I'm going to take the Jayhawks.
Yeah. So Kansas, I mean, this was probably one of the worst seasons they've ever had, or it's been at least a long time. They're
Oh
a
yeah,
really good basketball school. All right. So KU is having a really down year right now. I know that they're really good history of basketball. But I mean, if a school like Georgia was a 4 seed in the March Madness tournament, then they would be ecstatic right now. So yeah, but I still think Kansas is going to come away with this one because they're just too good of a program, and
Kansas
like you
Jayhawks.
said, too good of a head coach to fall to Samford. I'm not sure they're gonna make much farther than that, but I still have them coming through that
Mm-hmm.
one. All right, South Carolina and Oregon. Oregon's a little underrated. I'm taking
I have an upset
Oregon.
pick for this one.
Yeah, who'd you pick in this one?
I took South Carolina. I think they've been an underrated team all year. Won so many games. Are playing really good basketball. And I think the South Carolina team's going to go on to the second round.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Oregon. I think Oregon should be ranked higher. They're an 11 seed right now. I think they're better, or at least I don't necessarily maybe not ranked higher, but I think they're better than what they're ranked. I think they're better than an 11 seed, and I think they are gonna come away with the upset. I'm telling you guys, I got a lot of upsets in this thing. You guys are gonna think I'm crazy, and that's okay because it gets more views. All right. Creighton Akron 3 versus 14. What's coming out of that one?
Akron is coming out of that one. This is my big upset. I think Creighton is so overrated. They had that 1-1 against UConn. They suck the rest of the year. This team sucks. They shouldn't be a 3 seed. Akron's going to beat them.
Uh, well, well, I kind of agree with you with the whole thing. Creighton shouldn't be a 3 seed. I don't think they should be a
Yeah,
3 seed
I mean,
either.
you can't tell me Auburn isn't better than Creighton. I mean, Auburn would beat them by 30 points.
I, but I do think that Creighton's still going to win this one. I think they're too good to fall to Akron, even though the records are pretty much similar. I still think Creighton's going to come away with this one, but I don't have Creighton going much farther than this. All right, moving on. Texas versus either Virginia or Colorado State. Again, either way, I still have Texas coming out of this
Same.
one.
Yeah, I like unlike the other matchup between Colorado slash Boise State and Florida. I mean, I don't see Akron. I mean, excuse me, Texas losing this one. They're going to pick up an easy victory here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it doesn't matter who they play. I still think they're going to do really well. Right. So I said I had a lot of upsets, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one. But you know what? I have to give in to the St. Peter's legacy run. St. Peter's in Tennessee. Give me St. Peter's.
We'll see what happens with them.
Who
I'm
you
excited to
got?
see.
Uh-huh. I have St. Peter's. They were not in the tournament last year. The year before that, they made it to the Sweet 16 after beating teams like Kentucky and Purdue. And believe it or not, they're doing it again. They're beating Tennessee. And I might have them win the whole thing. We'll see. We haven't gotten there yet, but we will get there in a minute. That's the end of the first round. St. Peter's, I'm telling you, man. St. freaking Peter's, man. I love that team. The
The,
Peacocks are coming to town.
the old Peacocks, I'm taking Tennessee. I know they suck in the
Uh,
tournament, but they're going to win this game pretty handily.
I don't know. That's what they said last year, like three or four different, or not last year, the year before that. They said it like three or four different times. All right. So we just finished the round of 64. The round of 32 is up next in Yukon Northwest. I got Yukon. I think that's kind of a no doubter.
Yeah, I'm going to take UConn over Florida Atlantic. I think Florida Atlantic, good team. It's going to be a close game, but I think UConn's going to be able to pull out of it.
Yep. Moving on. San Diego State, Auburn. Who do you got?
Uh, I think this is going to be a really close and interesting game, but I'm going to take the Auburn Tigers. They're just so red hot right now. And I don't think anyone other like San Diego State is going to be able to beat them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking the Tigers in this one. Like I said earlier, when they play teams that are any bit worse than they are, they're very, very talented and very, very good against those teams. And so I think they definitely will. They're going to beat San Diego State. I know San Diego State went all the way to the final game last year, but this is going to be a bit different. So next up, we are Next up, I got BYU in Illinois, and I am gonna have BYU take this one. I think BYU's doing playing pretty good basketball right now. I think they're a pretty good team, and I think they got this one. What do you got?
I'm taking the Fighting Illini. I think they should win this one pretty handily here. They're the better team, and they're also just so red hot. BYU's good, and I think this game will be close, but Illinois is the better team certainly.
We'll see. All right. Washington State, Iowa State. Iowa State, I feel like they win this one. Maybe not, I think by decent amount, not like by 40 or something, not, but I don't think it's gonna be like a 5 point game. I think
Yeah,
it's gonna be pretty much Iowa's gonna win this one. I mean, it's just that Houston one was huge. That just boosts your confidence so much to beat a team like that. So I got Iowa moving on to face BYU.
I got
Iowa
Drake in
State.
Iowa State. Obviously, I took Drake over Washington State. I think this game was going to be really intense. I want to pick Drake so bad, but I gotta go Iowa State, man. I think they're going to pull off the victory here.
All right. North Carolina and Michigan State. I think Michigan. I think North Carolina is going to win this one. Michigan State had a pretty nice
Yeah.
run to get here and win a game, but I think it ends right here.
Yeah. I do think North Carolina is going to win this game. I think they're just simply the better team by a lot, and this game is going to be very close.
Yeah, obviously North Carolina. I mean, they lost to KU in the national
Yeah,
championship a few years ago, and last year they were the favorites to go back again. Came up short. Well, pretty very
they came
short.
up
They
far.
very far away from the tournament. They did not make it. So they fell flat and hit their head on concrete. So I got them going with a win there. And then Grand Canyon, Alabama. I'm taking Bama. I think Bama has a lot of firepower on that team, and I think they are gonna beat the Grand Canyon.
St. Mary in Alabama. I think Alabama's overrated. St. Mary's going to get the victory here.
All right. New Mexico Baylor. I think Baylor is going to come away and beat New Mexico. I think that again, Baylor, they're a good team, but not great. Like, I don't think they're going to last much longer in this tournament.
I got Baylor and Clemson, and I kind of think the same thing. I think Clemson is going to pull off the upset here. I've liked what I saw from Clemson down the line, and I think they're the better team.
All right. Nevada and Arizona. I'm taking Arizona with this one. Again, I'm saying this is a comeback year for them. They had some struggles last year. I mean, really big struggles last year. So they're
Yeah, me
back.
too.
I think they got this. What do you think?
Arizona should win this game handily. They're way better than Dayton, and their offense is just going to be able to score a lot of points. They're going to be shooting like fire in that game, Caden. You best believe
It's
it.
gonna be something.
All
All
right,
right.
now on
No,
to the other side of the bracket with Houston and Nebraska. Who do you got for that one?
so hear me out. Hear me out, guys, before I get flamed in the comments, like I know I already will. So Nebraska's my super pick. I have to go with them. I can't make them my sleeper pick and just throw them in the gutter. I'm taking Nebraska to beat Houston. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot, but I don't care. The number I do care, but not right now. Number eight, number eight, Nebraska is taking on number one, Houston. I'm just saying, Houston, we saw their flaws in the Iowa State game. And if Nebraska is smart, they'll figure out how to expose those. In Nebraska, and I have to stick with them, man. I have to. They were my sleeper pick, and I picked them for a reason. I mean, they have a really high powered offense. They're really good. And, we see some really crazy upsets in the last few years, and I think it continues this year.
I'm taking Houston.
I knew
I'm
it.
taking the Cougars to pull off the victory.
Well, unfortunately, sir, your Cougars are losing this game.
Uh-uh.
All right. Wisconsin, Duke. I got Duke. Again, Duke's a really good basketball school, and they're playing Wisconsin. And like you said, Wisconsin gets heated a lot, and they kind of get kind of crazy. And I think Duke will have they have their coaching staff and stuff has the experience, and I feel like they'll be able to keep their players together, and they're gonna get a win in there. This one,
I got the Dukes versus the Dukes of James Madison, and I think the Blue Devils will win that game.
I I definitely agree with that one. All right. Here we go. More clowning. So Texas Tech and Kentucky. Texas Tech Red Raiders, man. This is their year. They're gonna win this one. Why
I'm
are they gonna
taking,
win this one? I have literally no idea what's gonna happen.
NC State is so physical, and I know Kentucky scores a lot, but NC State's going to score a lot of points against Kentucky because one, their defense is not good. Two, NC State's defense is so physical, they're just going to be able to shut that Kentucky offense down, which is going to lead to them having a clear advantage in this game. I think they are realistically the better team than Kentucky when they match up like that. And they really do have some big, huge advantages against them. I'm taking NC State to go to the Sweet 16.
So unfortunately, I forgot about NC State quite a while ago. They're losing in the first round. I apologize, but they will be done in the first round. Texas Tech is going to beat Kentucky. We already talked about that. All right, moving on. Florida and Marquette. So Florida 7 seed, Marquette a 2 seed. I think Marquette comes away with this one and moves on to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I got Colorado slash Florida and versus Marquette. I think I'm going to take Marquette in this one. I think Marquette should win this game.
Yep. All right. So next one, Purdue TCU. So again, upsets. I'm telling you, man, this year's gonna be full upsets. TCU's gonna win. Purdue, we know in recent years they have not lived up to the hype that they have brought themselves with. So I don't think they're gonna come away with this one. What do you got?
I'm taking the Purdue Boilermakers. I think they should be able to win this one somewhat handily.
I don't know, man. We'll see. Zaga KU, Zaga, they're gonna beat
Zaga,
them. KU
Zaga. We
is
don't need to talk about this one. They'll blow them out.
yeah, KU may not score a point. All right.
They also give
or
up 150. God.
final score Gonzaga 150-0 in a basketball game. All right,
That's
Oregon
okay for the
Creighton. So,
sport.
like you said, Creighton isn't very good. They should not be a 3 seed. They should not be seated where they're at. So I'm taking Oregon. I think Oregon's got them.
I got South Carolina and Akron. I think Akron, their run won't last long. Give me the Gamecocks. Give me the Cocks to move on.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Texas St. Peter's, the St. Peter's legacy run continues. I'm just kidding. I'm not that stupid. They are going to lose to Texas. Texas is going to move on. I'm so sorry to the St. Peter's Peacocks. I'm sorry, but your run has come to an end. But if you do win this game, I will not be sad. I'll be very, very happy for you. And I'll tell Jace I told you so.
I'm taking Tennessee over Texas in my matchup. Yeah, Tennessee should beat Texas. They're better.
Unfortunately, Tennessee won't even be playing in that game. So sucks for you. All right. Sweet 16, UConn, Auburn. What do you got?
I really want to take Auburn. I really, really want to take Auburn. This team's so hot. And I think if any team has the potential to beat UConn in the Eastern bracket, it's Auburn. I think they're really the second best team in that bracket. But give me UConn to just edge through and get the victory.
I think UConn's got it as well, just because we've seen this year that Auburn, when they play teams that are statistically better than they are, doesn't end too well. I'm just saying. So UConn is gonna come away with this one. Moving on, BYU, Iowa State. I'm taking Iowa State again. I think they're a much better team than BYU. What do you got?
I got another close one. Illinois, Iowa State, two phenomenal teams. I think Iowa State's just going to be able to beat it by just a point or two and go on to the Elite Eight.
All right. North Carolina and Alabama. I'm taking Bama. Okay. Guys, before you flame me in the comments for all the stupidity out of this video, just know that you gave us another view. And so Bama is gonna win. I think firepower on offense, SEC. Not that that even matters, but they're from the SEC. I know that. And what do you got?
St. Mary UNC. I got the same result. I think St. Mary's going to beat them. I think St. Mary's a really good team. UNC is probably the weakest one seed we have here, and I just think St. Mary's is the team to beat them.
Well, again, St. Mary's, I kind of forgot about. They kind of lost a while ago. So Baylor, Arizona. Like I said, I don't think Arizona is great to go super far. Or not Arizona. At Baylor, I don't think they're great to go super far in this tournament, but I think they're good enough to win a few games. But this is where their reign ends. Arizona's moving on to the sweet or to the Elite Eight.
I got Arizona over Clemson. I think Clemson's going to have a nice little run, go to the Sweet 16, but yeah, they won't get past Arizona. Arizona should dominate them.
All right, moving on, Nebraska and Duke, guys. Nebraska's not done yet. They've got the Japanese Stephen Curry, and they're not done yet. And they are going to win this game. They are going to beat Duke, and they're going to the Elite Eight. It's going to happen. It's not going to happen, but I believe it.
Well, I'm taking the Houston Cougars over the Duke Blue Devils. I feel like this is going to be a really intense and close game, but I think Houston's going to be able to fight through and get that victory to go to the Elite Eight, which they could not do last year as I watched that game in person, and good night, it was awful.
Unfortunately, Houston did lose a few games ago, so
Unfortunately, I did have to watch that game last year in person. Good night, they got killed.
that was something to watch. All right, so Texas Tech in Marquette. I got the Texas Tech Raiders.
NC State and Marquette, give me the upset. I'm taking the 10 seed NC State to the Elite Eight where they will face the Houston Cougars.
11 seed. But
Or 11 seed, excuse me. But the 11 seeded
same thing. It's
NC
basically the same
State
thing.
To the Elite Eight.
Well, unfortunately for you, or they did lose a long time ago. So, but all right, TCU's Zaga. I'm taking Zaga. I think they are a much. I think they're pretty much a better team here, and I think this is the year where Zaga goes on a run.
Purdue Zaga. I'm taking Zaga in this one. I think they should be able to win this one. Purdue will always crap the bed every year in March Madness. They
Oh,
will do it here against the
they
Zags.
let it go. They don't hold anything in.
They do not.
They do let it go. So yeah, we kind of said the same thing about Purdue. I mean, obviously you had them win one more round than I did.
Yeah.
But we both agreed that they really know how to let everything go. All right. So Oregon and Texas. Oregon. The Cinderella story continues. They are going to move on and beat Texas.
Yeah, well, I got South Carolina and Tennessee. I'm taking South Carolina in this one. Tennessee usually does kind of fall apart in the tournament. We see it in most years, but I think this Tennessee team could be different. I don't think they will, but they could. So give me the
Yeah.
Gamecocks to move on to the Elite Eight.
All right. Well, let's move on to the Elite Eight. So we're almost done here. Elite Eight. I got UConn, Iowa State. Big matchup. Both really good teams here. And I'm going UConn. I'm taking the back-to-back champ. Or not back-to-back champs. The
Reigning.
boom. There we go. The reigning champs to win this one. And I just think UConn just so strong. They've been so dominant all year. They're 31-3, and it's not like they haven't played anybody. They've had really good competition all year, and they've been pretty much dominant. What do you got?
I need to yawn. I'm taking the UConn Huskies in this one over the Iowa State Hawkeye. I'm taking the UConn Huskies over the Iowa State Cyclones. I think they should be able to win this one pretty handily.
So Yeah, in the second Elite Eight matchup, I got Alabama and Arizona. I know I've been high on Alabama today, but I think this is where their run ends. Arizona is going to move on, and this is the most realistic thing that I've said today. Arizona is going to move on. I think that they have a comeback year. Last year wasn't very good for them, but they are going to move on to the Final Four.
You know what? Yeah, I got Arizona over St. Mary's. I think St. Mary's is a really, really good team, and I think they'll definitely be able to stay in this game. But I think Arizona, maybe in the final 4 or 5 minutes, will just be able to kind of score a lot, not give up many points, and that's why they'll take the victory.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. So moving on to Nebraska, Texas Tech, both teams that most likely won't even get there, but I think they will. And Nebraska, give me Nebraska. The Cinderella story or it already began a long time ago. The Cinderella story continues. Nebraska's going to the Final Four.
We'll
Call
see
me
what happens.
crazy because I am, but
I'm taking the Houston Cougars over the NC State Wolfpack. I think Houston will just dominate this game. I think NC State will kind of run out of gas, and that's why I'm taking the Houston Cougars all the way to the Final Four.
another thing
Undefeated.
about Nebraska, like saying an 8 seed is gonna go to the national, go to the Final Four isn't really that crazy. I mean, last year we had a 9 seed in the Final Four, So
And yeah, I mean that was an amazing tournament last year with Florida Atlantic and that San Diego State game. That was incredible.
it was and it wasn't like they made it there and then got their butt kicked. Like they got there and they lost on it. One of the best shots I've ever seen. So it was pretty nice.
That was amazing.
So the final Elite Eight matchup, I got Gonzaga and Oregon. This is where Oregon's what's the word? Cinderella story comes to an end. Gonzaga gonna win this one. I'm telling you guys, every year, the one year that everybody doubts Gonzaga is the year that they're gonna actually show up and do what they do best.
I got South Carolina and Gonzaga. I really want to take South Carolina, but Gonzaga, other than the one loss to St. John's in their conference tournament, they've looked great down the stretch. Give me the Zags to the Final
Oh,
Four.
I'm telling you, the Zags, it's their year to almost win the whole thing. All right, so that we're moving on to our final four. So final four
We got three of
are
the four same teams,
yeah, so
but will we
we're
have the same national championship?
yeah, we'll see. So UConn and Arizona. I'm taking UConn, man. They are the reigning champs. Zona much better. I predict them to have a much better year than they did last year, but it's not enough. UConn, I think, is better than they were last year whenever they won the national championship. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were a 4 seed, weren't they?
They were.
Yeah, and this year they're a 1 seed and the best team in the country, and it was they're so good. I think that they're gonna win this one. Obviously I don't think it's gonna be a blowout, but I still think they're gonna win. Who do you got?
I'm taking Zona in this one, man. I just think UConn is a tad overrated. I think Arizona is a tad underrated. No, they're a decent amount underrated. People are not giving them credit for where credit's due. This team scores so many points. They play good on defense. Yes, they lost in the conference championship, but this or conference tournament, but this team is so good. They will go to the national championship this year and beat
We'll see.
the Huskies.
So my Cinderella story, Nebraska and Gonzaga. I love Nebraska, but this is where their situation comes to an end. The run is going to end in the Final Four. It hurts me so much, you know. So Gonzaga is going to win this one. They're going to go to the national championship and they're going to face UConn.
I got Gonzaga and Houston. I think Houston will just run right through them. Gonzaga's engine is going to run out, and I think Houston will win by 20 plus.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know what I'm talking about. So we have our national championships. I got UConn versus Zaga, and you have Arizona versus Houston. And me personally, the first time since 2006, 2007, we are going to see a back-to-back March Madness national champion, and that's going to be the Yukon Huskies.
I'm taking the Houston Cougars to take down the Arizona Wildcats by a final score of 78-71 in the national championship, and they will cut the Nets down as national champions. Even after the blowout lost in the Big 12 championship, they will cut down the Nets. Mark my words.
Well, so, yep, I got UConn. UConn's going to win it. And if you think anything that I said was stupid, please comment about it because I'd love to chat with you.
I have NC State in the Elite Eight, South Carolina in the Elite Eight. I mean, St. Mary's is in the Elite Eight, so who knows? We could both be idiots.
Oh, we are both idiots, but it's okay. You know, give it up for both of us who put our stupidity on the internet. And if you don't feel stupid, you're not doing it right. Quote
Jeffrey Nold. He's the man. He's the reason this
man.
Podcast exists.
He is the reason. Jace, you have anything else to add? We'll wrap it up here.
No, that's about it. I think we're good to go.
All right. So this will bring us to the end of the video. I know this was a different thing we did this week, but this is such a big thing. We couldn't really make this a shorter video because it's going to take forever anyways. And there's not really anything big really going on anywhere else necessarily. But we will catch up back on that next week. We'll have a full show for you, a normal episode. But just a reminder, me and Jace's social medias have been on the screen, most of the videos, so you can follow us on X and Instagram and check out our stuff. But also you can follow Gametime Sports Podcast on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Jason's our social media guy. He posts a bunch of stuff after every video is uploaded. He'll definitely have a lot after this one's uploaded, so hopefully those are out.
Those reels, go watch those TikToks. I mean, you can see the best moments from all of our podcasts.
Oh, yeah. All right. So that will bring us to the end. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe, and have a fantastic rest of your day watching March Madness.